episode of Talking That Talk official podcast. Excuse me, where we have comfortable and uncomfortable conversations. I am your host, Juice, aka No Ordinary Brother.
All right, what's good, everybody? I go by the name of King Exodus, aka X. Hey, Happy New Year! It's the New Year, first episode of New Year. We most definitely coming with some very high energy. You know what I mean? Great topics we got coming, very controversial. So tonight's topic: the best man, final chapters. But we gonna go over everything. We're gonna tap into the first movie, Best Man Holiday. We're gonna tap in. We're gonna break down these characters. We're gonna break down these situations because social media has really been popping when it comes to this particular space, right? We got different debates going on about who's right, who's wrong in particular situations. And not to mention the final chapters, as entertaining as it was very fucking toxic. You know what I mean? Like we got a lot of shit going on.
Man.
But hey, it was great entertainment. You know what I mean? I don't binge watch nothing, y'all. I binge watched that shit in like 2 days. I had some time off work. I binge watched that shit after like episode 1 and 2. I was like, bro, I just gotta keep them going. Just gotta keep them going back to back. So most definitely, we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna tap into the debates that everybody's having right now. So kicking it off, man. Let's not wait. Let's go and get into the meat and the potatoes of it. Um, a lot of the smoke that I've seen was centered around Harper, Jordan, and Robin. For the people that's not familiar with the names, we got Tay Diggs' character,
Uh-huh.
Denai Lathan's character,
Mhm.
and Nia Long's character. All right.
Neil Long character.
This is the meat and the potatoes that everybody been talking about. You know what I'm saying? Who's the villain of the final chapters out of Harp and his wife? So let's tap in. What you got, Juice?
Man, first of all, I want to say, X, you owe me lunch. That was the most toxic stuff I watched in a long time. Y'all
Hey,
understand? Like when I
that's what I
watch
can do, man.
when I watch movies and TV shows, I just look at them. But this series, I literally was talking to the TV. Hey, did you see that shit? What the fuck is? I was literally talking to them. I was really engaged over this stuff. Like, did you see that shit? I was like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I text him. I said, this shit is toxic. Bro,
Hey,
when I
it's just
text
like
him
I
that,
like it though. I
y'all,
like
when I
it.
text him that, because he wanted to do the subject, it was like
Mm,
1 in the morning when I text him. I'm that
mm,
engaged. I text somebody at 1 in the morning. Usually, like, I don't text somebody after like, or respectful level like 10ish, unless I know you're already up. Or you put
yeah.
something on social media that signifies you're up. So, but yeah, he pissed me off that bad. That's how the show was.
Yeah.
But overall, man, I did enjoy it. So, if out of those three, man, it's gonna be good. Definitely, I advise everybody to understand what happened if you ever watched the first one to the holiday to the final chapters. But this segment will be focused on just the final chapters. We might talk about stuff in the past that triggers into the final chapter, but it'll be specifically over that session. Oh, like I said, it's I enjoyed it. It was a lot of moments in there. I was like, he's wrong, she's wrong, but if y'all pay attention, it's a lot of things we talked about personally within our show that showed up throughout the show constantly. Constant.
Mhm.
I was just like, damn, man, yo, this shit. 3 words for it. I said it's toxic, it's drama, and it's reality.
Mm.
That's all I got for it. All right, man, go ahead and pop it up, man. What situation you want to talk about first? What situation you want to talk
Like I
about
said,
first?
I'm gonna tap into that Harper, Jordan, Robin energy. We definitely gotta do that. That's Tay Diggs, Sanaa Lathan, Nia Long. So on the first aspect, right, we have Harp and Robin. Um, a lot of people are debating about which person was the villain within this particular series. I most definitely, you know what I'm saying? I will admit that both characters showed a certain type of, how can I say it? They showed a certain type of guilt throughout the series. You know what I mean? I would say more so the guilt normally is on Harp. You know what I'm saying? He's probably doing something wrong or coming off wrong or getting caught in the wrong moment. You know what I mean? Probably doing the wrong shit that looks 10 times worse because he's getting caught doing some shit. But in this particular space, I really didn't see how much wrong that he actually did. The feedback that social media was buzzing about was saying that, yo, he wasn't into her and he was never there. I'm like, bro, if you pay attention to the timeline, he 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 wrote the book. The book kind of blew up. He went broke by the second movie. He was broke.
He was
You feel
broke. He
me?
was behind. Debt
So
was everything.
a lot of people was like, oh, it was selfish for him to write the book about his boy behind his back. Okay, cool. But at the same time, he was in an attempt to feed his family because he was broke.
Mm,
And he hid being broke from his wife. She didn't even know about how broke he was at that particular moment. So if that's personally selfish and for self, I don't know what the fuck doing it for the team is or doing it for the family is. You know what I mean? He hid his problems from his wife, went straight into action. She caught up to it later.
mm,
You feel me? He was like, "Hey, you pregnant? I don't want to put that on you right now." So a lot of people's like he was doing that for self. I feel like he was doing that for his family, self included, but family also included. You know what I
right.
mean? But then we get past this space. Now we're in the series. He finally makes it. I'm thinking he on some NBA YoungBoy shit. Never broke again. You feel me? This is not, oh, I just want more personally for me. Yeah, he's ambitious, but I'm just saying it like bro was struggling throughout every movie.
Mhm.
This is the only time he's been complacent enough to be like, okay, we got it. You know what I'm saying? The family good. So of course the average person is gonna want more. And I'm like, if you shaming Harper for wanting more and quote unquote not being present in his relationship, this is probably coming from the same women that wouldn't even settle down with a man that's making less than $90,000 a year
Mm,
and fully submit to him, right? Because you're gonna say, oh, he can't take care of everything, or if he take care of everything, he can't provide the type of luxurious experience at the same time.
mm,
So sometimes you just really got to pick and choose.
mm,
You got a man that's already in the limelight,
mm,
given what most people would like to attain. You got a man that's a little popular, got a little clout, got a little money.
mm,
Let this man go out and get more.
mm,
Because when all y'all women look at the TV, you're lusting after the $1 million man. You're lusting after the 5% of men. You're lusting after the top tier.
mm,
Why can't this man be top tier? Why does he have to settle and stop his ambition where it's at? He's
mm,
still tending to his family. He put his family in a better home. You
mm.
know what I mean? Like he not out buying cars and going to strip clubs and shit. He's actually working throughout the series. And people are like, oh, he ain't paying her no attention. I'm like, hey man.
Hey,
Sometimes you just
you
can't
already
win.
know.
So before we get into the Jordan shit, just tap in on that, man. Give me some feedback on how do you feel about people saying that he was so absent from the relationship in the final chapters.
Man,
While
look.
working.
Oh man, look. I like I said, I like Hart, man. Hart was on that go get it spirit and everything. Okay. One thing I want people to realize within the first movie to the second movie was there's actually a 15 age difference between the first movie and
Okay.
the second movie, right? Um, every character within the second movie, life took off, but his. We we didn't talk
Mhm.
about that. Everybody was successful, right? You
Mhm.
had LJ became an NFL star. Harp's wife, we forgot she's an uprising chef. He kept that all the way. Like it's stuff like
Mhm.
when somebody has so much on their mind, like you said during the pregnancy, it affects the pregnancy if you put stress on somebody. So you got to be able to like kind of dismiss certain things so it doesn't affect the pregnancy, which doesn't affect
Mhm.
the child. So I can't see him for being wrong for that, but it was amazing to me as he start, he finally gets there, and at the same time, I'm looking at the timeline of the men's ages, right? They always say men get better within time, and you can steady see it progress out in every man's relationship in each movie. So when
Mhm.
he finally gets there, I don't think I understand. Like, that's when you put more gas, say more gas to the flame. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep pursuing. And it's like, yo, how ambitious do you want somebody, right? We always say, like, do you want a man that's en route or already there at the same time? Because
Mhm.
the person who's already there is still going to be feeding his ambition. The person who finally gets there, he's going to have to put 10 times more effort. This is when, like, you're not trying to deny anything, right? I'll give you an example, man. I remember Dennis Sperling was breaking down Kevin Samuels, right? He said,
Mhm.
When Kevin finally made it, the dude wasn't sleeping no more than 4 hours a day, right? He would be waking up. He'd finish the show at 1, 2 in the morning, United States time. But in 2 or 3 hours, he might have an appointment for somebody from across the world. I said,
Mhm.
damn, what the fuck? He said, he told him, he said, look, man, I'm finally here. I don't have time to sleep like that. He said, I got to keep going. I got to keep doing. So he was having like anytime you see him about, you don't know how many appointments he's doing throughout that day before he does the show. And
Mhm.
Dennis was just breaking it down. He said, this is what men will go through once they get a taste of it. They're going to have to keep feeding themselves. Otherwise, it might just die down, right? That's why you
Mhm.
have some business that finally take off and they're like, hey, we can keep going, we keep forward, we keep moving forward. And then somebody like, I'm comfortable with the way it is, right? Versus somebody be like, all right, man, we're finally here. Let's really put everything into it. So he was really putting everything into it. So that's how I look at it, man. And I always say you got to
Mhm.
find that the polarity when you're dating people. I've always been like, listen, once you come into this business room I am, you can see my goals. You're gonna see this. You're gonna see that. You're gonna understand. Look, I don't. You're gonna have my downtime, not all my time. So when I'm gone and pursuing things, I need you to understand that. But if everything's about you, it's not gonna work. So that's what really happened. A man was trying to grow, and somebody was trying to prevent him from growing, or tell him to be selfish for wanting to do more, but at the same time wanting to give you more. That's what a vision is. I'm giving myself more, but in return, you're gonna get more. And that's all I got. That's all I got.
Right. And just saying that, man, going back to the argument they was having, he like, hey, you wanted to donate more money to charity? I did that. You know what I'm saying? At first,
Everything.
she didn't want to upgrade her lifestyle. She wanted to be so like um hippie-ish, kind of for the people type kind of
Down for the
vibe
culture. Down for
until
the culture. Literally, that
until the
was
back. Yeah,
two of their way. That was literally like two of those individuals type of style. That was Jordan and his wife. They were
yeah,
down for the culture.
right. Until it backfired and her protesting put the child in danger. Then she was like, okay, we can move. I get it. Okay. So the man, like, look, I did all these things for you, but at the same time, you're still unhappy. And this is what I see oftentimes throughout relationships. And just looking at all the movies, like that man never stopped her from being who she was. He never did.
Never.
He was just busy trying to find out who the fuck he was, right? While still facilitating a family and
Mm,
trying to improve that lifestyle.
mm,
So now she has this type of energy, like her man's oppressive towards her. Like I'm supporting you all this time, and you can't support me, while at the same time he's supporting you. I don't know if y'all remember in the first movie they was clowning him because she had like 5 or 6 different career choices before she became a cook.
mm.
You feel me? I don't know how long y'all been tapping in,
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
what happened. He never once say, "Hey, you got to pick something" or whatever. He supported her throughout those different career choices while they were dating, right?
Mm,
So it just comes a particular time and space. Like you have this new age thinking versus like traditional thinking. To where in the traditional aspect, he already got the kudos because he bringing home the bag. He providing.
mm,
She really ain't got to do much. They able
mm,
to upgrade their lifestyle, not live in poverty, take trips, do whatever. This would be traditionally he'd be good. You mix it into the modern aspect of thinking outside of all that, the nature of her is still like, hey, but what about me personally?
mm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, I ain't really understand that part, but the guy supported her throughout a lot of different things, even up until the divorce. He was like, look, I was cool with everything. You can have a kid, you can have everything you want.
The
But when
house.
she was like, I'm taking the kid to a whole nother country, he was like, bitch, you got me fucked up. You
Hey,
know what I
hey,
mean?
that's
Like,
when he
that's
threw
when he
all
was
that
like,
shit
hold
out. He
on,
like,
bitch. Like, I've
hold
been
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on.
right. You know what I mean? So at what point do we point the finger in both directions? If we could hate him throughout movie one, movie two, right? At what point can we then turn the finger on his mate? It's like sometimes it's like a battle of the sexes, but sometimes it's like if you start as the villain, you gotta stay the villain no matter who else could be more grimy than you. No, we got to constantly reevaluate the situation. We got to constantly adjust the scales. If that motherfucker is leaning, is leaning. We can't say, hey, even though the shit's like this, you still the bad guy. No. At a particular point in this series, Robin's character became the villain. I don't care what nobody say. She
No.
put herself before the family. She put herself before her husband. She put herself first. And you will see a lot of times when men put themselves first, they're selfish. They're not attending to the family. They're not attending to everybody's needs. You know what I mean? Even if it's them doing what they feel like they can do for survival. But if the female puts herself first, it's completely justified and understood across the board. Because at a particular space, it's like we feel like she's supposed to do that when it's never supposed to happen that way. Right? So I just want to tap into that energy, you know what I mean? Those the deep waters that a lot of people are swimming in right now. It's okay for one sex to be selfish in certain aspects and not the other. And this is the way we function our families at scale. So it's great for them to put that into that space. Last point before I end off. Well, no, fuck it, man. There's so much shit between them two. How do you feel about her having that connection with old boy, the young guy, or some shit like that, to where she had to do it in the house?
Oh my God,
She,
nigga.
she
Oh
damn near, she damn
man.
near She damn near came on herself while he was tasting the food. She was ready to use her husband's money to buy a business front that he was interested in and cloak it into terms like, oh, she's doing it for the cause or something she really wanted to do. When he's the one that sparked that ideal in her brain. So how do you feel about that part of it, man?
Oh, when she was just falling in love with another dude.
Mhm.
You already know, I felt like that was already wrong, but at the same time,
Mhm.
I said it to myself, it's interesting that they display that type of relationship, right? It's always the man that's looking at other women when he's married, but women will use the same things to get attention, right?
Mhm.
Attention's a motherfucker, man. So if you paid attention to the flirtatious behavior, the this is why I come here, and you know what I'm saying, um it's interesting, right? And I think she allowed that relationship to get too close. A couple things I was observing was, one, I was like, yo, that man picked up the child. It doesn't matter if I know, and I kept asking myself, did she ever tell him she was married? That was the biggest thing that kept going through my mind. Did she ever tell this man she was married?
Mhm.
Right? And I'm observing her hands at the same time, and throughout the show, her hand is still kind of covered to a point I don't see a ring. That's another thing, because a couple times it was cold, so gloves were on. I'm very observant.
Mhm.
So I'm peeping how she's moving and stuff. One thing that confused the hell out of me is like when she let another man come to that man's house and he wasn't present. You know, they'd be like, well, he brought some heaters. The place was cold. Listen, the woman got money. Let's not act like she couldn't go buy those heaters and place it within the house and warm the building up at the same time. You said, hey man, there's something going on in my house. He did the polite thing, brought the
Can you
heaters over,
contact it out?
walked into the house, and I was just like, yo, what's going on? Right?
Mhm.
That's a big no-no. Like it's been times where I don't know where people get this. Like, if you never introduce your spouse to another being, they should never be walking within your household. That's a big
Mhm.
no-no for my damn side. Like, hey, listen, don't bring nobody to my house if we dated, and if I ain't never met them, or I
Mhm.
ain't present, or I don't even allow it. But
Mhm.
people, like I said, when people get emotions attacked, they don't mind letting things come in because they look at it as harmful. Right? Hart was gone for, I think during that time period, I think he was almost gone for about a month at the same time. I think almost about a month because he was working on getting that film done. So while the film being done, you're getting more attachments because quote unquote you're lonely. And I always say there's a what's the word I always say? There's always so attention is gonna be fed, believe it or not. So
Mhm.
even with that the buying of the building, I thought that was whack how she played it out. He was like, yo, why would I buy a building that I haven't seen? Well, I wanted it. I was
Mhm.
like, oh god damn, man. I was like, shit.
Never think it.
this is the mentality that people is like, hey, look, you should want to fund my dreams no matter what it is. And remember he made that jab earlier. He said, you don't remember I funded this? I supported you in this, that. And he's been sticking to the same career path the whole time. He never went a different route. Anything he want to do, he support his woman. Go ahead and do it. But the minute he said, look, hey, look, baby, I didn't see the building. I wasn't comfortable invested in something. I wasn't presently there, so I could do my inspections, do my market analysis. It was just like, fuck that. You should have just gave me the money. I was like, get this motherfucker out of here. But I do want to point something out in episode 7. I don't know if anybody paid attention to it.
Yeah,
Episode 7, there was a moment within the show. And they were Hart came in later on. She said, hey, I wish you was here so you could eat more. And she said, the baby had already ate. I said, okay, cool. I'm observing there's 2 wine glasses. I said, hold up. Who pours 2 wine glasses if they're there by themselves? I have personally never done it myself. And there was never a mention of another individual within that episode saying they came over drunk at the house or ate at the house. But there's 2 wine glasses. One is the length level of wine glass, and one is just damn near empty. And I was observing that, and I called you immediately. I said, bro, do you observe that? There was 2 wine glasses, but she's by herself. Who does that? So I'm waiting to see. I think that's when season 2 come out. If they make it, but there's something there. There was something there because nobody points to sell 2 wine glasses and be by themselves. I do want to say that.
There's so many levels to these 2 characters alone. I gotta do the skim. All right, so look, they're going to vacay. Bro is not working. He's all open for her attention, but meanwhile, she's spending more time with the lady that's putting her on. True enough, she's putting her on to different things, right? But he like, damn, babe, we supposed to be on vacation. Like, we supposed to be spending time together. Do you have to go down there and shop and do whatever? She like, yeah, I got to. So once again, we're talking about the selfishness that's okay on one side and it's not okay on the other, right? So then she asks, bro, hey, fuck it, let's move out here. I mean, like, you got to understand the magnitude of people, like, not just moving, but moving to a whole nother country just because you feel like you have a connection to a landmass and you married and you got kids and they got family and friends. Like, she was putting that pressure on him, like, yo, this is where I belong. But peep game, when she actually moved later on, she moved to Africa.
Not even the place she the movie to originally.
So this is just to show how men don't get evaluated properly. A man should never be evaluated based on the quote unquote sacrifices he makes just to make his counterpart happy. You feel me? Because when she had the opportunity to live wherever, she didn't even choose the place that she was putting the pressure on him to move to it originally. So let's just say he was like, all right, baby, yeah, whatever. Let's do it. Fuck it. That's not even the place she belonged to. She picked a whole nother spot.
A whole different continent.
Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going.
Keep the marvel. She did a lot of
people were disrespecting the reason why he even married her to begin with. And that was so chaotic to me. Because if you pay attention to the first movie, she was putting the pressure on him to level up past what they were. He was being like resistant towards it, like, what you talking about?
Right.
So throughout the time, he was like right.
I don't want to say it too quick. Well, and then she mentioned a couple times. She was like, my bad, I didn't even cut you. I didn't mean to cut you off. But in the beginning of the movie, they're laying in that tub, remember? He said, I can do this forever. He's like, huh? You know what I'm saying? She's implanting the idea. You know, she's playing the idea in his mind, and he's, you know, he's ready for it. I mean, go ahead, bro. I just want to throw that in there.
Right. You're on the right path.
Throughout that movie.
Yeah, you're on the right path. So she planted the idea in his mind. Throughout his personal experiences, he gravitates towards it. He gets inspired by Mia and the LJ shit. So then he like, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna boss up. I'm gonna drop my nuts. I'm gonna get down on one knee. And before we get into the him and Jordan situation, you have to remember Jordan is the one that said, hey, I fucks with you. I want you. but I feel like she's the one. Don't
Mm,
let her go.
mm.
After that, he was like, I bet. Confirmation. Boom. Let's do this. Then she went over that old girl. She was like, hey, I think he's waiting on you. Like we skipped past this whole part. You know what I mean? Because she could have been on some selfish shit. Like, hey, I want you. Whatever. Hey, fuck everybody else.
Mm.
So,
She
and
said the
remember,
magical words, bro. She said
right,
the magical words. You know what the
right,
magical words are?
right.
Make love to me. I said, oh, I ain't heard
But hey, we ain't there
that.
yet. We ain't there yet. Let's stay on topic. We ain't there yet. We ain't there. Yet. We ain't there. We ain't there. All right.
Yeah, okay, let's go.
So we look at what happened at the wedding. He wouldn't have been able to pull off the wedding if it wasn't for Robin's energy. So I think that's what hit him the most. Like, I need her. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even when she tried to leave first, before she even got there, he's like, I need you. Said that shit in front of the whole
Yeah.
whatever. You know what I mean? So I just had to throw that out there. So him marrying her was a sound decision. It wasn't no decision because nothing with him and nobody else, and it wasn't a negative decision. That was a sound decision that he made because he seen the impact that she played on his life.
She helped him navigate through that chaos. Perfectly.
Right. So it's just kind of fucked up that sometimes men just can't win. You know what I mean? Like if they step up in a particular situation, no matter where the inspiration came from, and
Mm.
make the right decision, it's still people that would disrespect the decision no matter what. Right? So that's my last point on Harp and Robin, man. Um,
Man, that ayahuasca changed all their lives. I'm gonna be honest. That's what really took everybody off into different directions. That's
all right, we tapped into Harp's ambition, and one thing I could say, and I add in on my last point of Harp's ambition. Okay, cool. It's just now we're in a space, man, to where, like I said, it's really not that traditional no more. So even though a man really can provide for his family, upgrade, hustle, work, grind, go out, hunt, kill, bring it back, skin it, cook it, do whatever, he still gotta have like 5% energy to get to the household. This is just where we at right now. We out of the traditional space to where if he just do his job, he good on the outside. It's like you come in the inside, you still got a job there too. So I definitely want to tap into that aspect. Like now we got to tap into like that energy in the reserve tank. That's like, you know what I mean? Like I always listen to Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant, like, look, I woke up at 4 in the morning, I practiced all day, every day. He still came home, spent time with his wife, children. You definitely have to make your children, woman, collective. You got to give them attention on a specifically intimate level, a different kind of personal level at the same time while you still going to get the bag.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you just going to do all this shit, you hustling, you grinding, and they brain, because you're not doing one or two things, that shit really don't even mean that much. And I think that's why you have like a lot of highly successful men. The first thing that collapses home base.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Or people in a closer circle, friends and family, like, fuck that nigga. But the whole world is like, I love him. You know what I'm saying? This is how things like that happen to me. It's like everybody's fighting for your energy and your time. So it's like if you just get maybe a little bit more, maybe. But there are some rare exceptions of people that even if you can do all the provision and still give energy at home, they still gonna want you to do something else. I ain't talking about that, right? I'm just talking about like maybe he could do a little bit more at home. I don't know. That's my last point on Harp's ambition.
Mm.
Now I'll let you take it.
Oh man, I mean, like I said, I like art, man. Like I always
You
talk
got
about.
it. What's up,
Like
man?
I said, when you got different age gap,
You know,
people are tapping into a overdrive. And I said this before. I was like, no matter how old a person gets, some men are constantly looking for work. LJ, constantly looking to find himself. You had Q, Q
after the
constantly
money. After the money.
after the
Tap
money.
into
That's what
that.
I said. It
'Cause
don't
a lot
even
of people
matter about
like,
money no more.
if
It's
you got money, you good. Nah, he like, bro, I
nah,
still don't
bro.
have a
It's some
purpose.
people have to work. Like it's just in them. They gotta do
Mhm.
something. And
Mhm.
Hart Q, he started taking over the family business. You know what I'm saying? He's constantly working himself. And I do want to point this out, man. You have made a comment
Okay.
about Jordan and the
Mhm.
Hart. I was like, but did anybody peep when what's her name? Shelby tried to tell Hart mothers know what best. He said, how can you say that? And you kept this man's child away from him for 10 years. And I'm like,
Hey,
yo,
that nigga Q say, hey, real motherfucking talk. She like, you just gonna let him talk to me like that? Keep my wife's name. All right, you got it, man. You got it.
because
That was the
like,
funniest part.
man, that is really crazy. I've always asked myself, when people say mothers know what best, why is it okay, whatever they do, what is supposed to be for the child's best interest, and a man knows nothing about it, it's okay because she's doing it for the child. But there's more confirmations men are starting to get, like, yo, your mother didn't want me there. Like, look, listen, here's a pile of letters. Here's a pile of child support I've been there. He's like, look, man, I don't know how much proof I need to give you. Your mom did what she thought was best. Like, and that's why when you're younger, if you grew up in a single parent household and you couldn't really connect with your father until you found out the truth later on, you didn't like your father. Like, man, he was a whole ass nigga, man. He was never there. Mom told me this. Then a lot of people start finding out like that wasn't necessarily true, right? So if you go through that as a child, and he goes through the cycle of having a child himself, and he's about to go through that same situation, and then he's like, the first thing he's looking at is like, all right, same thing that happened to you is about to happen right now. What do I do? He might leave the situation or try to pursue harder, or eventually just marry somebody he can really be a family man to. And that's when kids get upset. It's like, yo, you created another family and you didn't focus on me. It's like, I couldn't even get to you, man. Did you not? I couldn't even get to you. Did you understand that? And I'd be like, damn. Some of this shit be really fucked up. But yeah. That's a little Marlon rendezvous right there. But we get back to another one.
All right. So my last point on Robin before we move on to other characters.
Jordan, do you already do Jordan?
No, I ain't do Jordan yet. Fellas, if you dating a woman and she rooted for Robin throughout that series, beware. You might want to like ejectocito or some shit.
Ejectocito, cuz.
You know what I mean? Like, get the fuck out of there fast, because that's like a selfish woman at her most highest peak possible. You never come before the family because you're a part of the family. The family don't exist without you. So a family is like three different spaces. You know what I'm saying? You got the father, mother, child. If we go into like the sacred mathematics or whatever, you got 1 + 1. A lot of people say it's 2, but 1 + 1 would be 3 in that aspect because you now have 3 individual ones that's in that equation. You, your own entity, mixed with another entity creates another entity. So it's 3 total. You know what I mean? And then you go into the Kemetic science, you got the you got all the shit. Everything is broken down into families. So once anybody comes before the family, and the man doesn't come before the family because he's providing for the family, that's what he's supposed to do. You feel me? So I'm just end off on Robin like that. Hey, fuck Robin, man. So keeping it moving, man. So one thing that I peeped about, let's tap in, let's lighten up a little bit. Let's go to LJ and his son. What would you have done in that situation? Because given the times that we in, we know it's year 2023. If your son chose that particular path, would you react the same way LJ did?
You had to throw that on me, huh? Right? I mean, shoot, I'm gonna keep it honest with you. I keep it 100% honest. I do believe in trying to push through a situation I might look at as a phase, right? These one of the most uncomfortable things that people don't want to talk about is sometimes situation that LJ went through his son, people are experiencing, but it's nothing more than a phase. But if you let it continue, then it becomes embodied, right? So in other words, I'm saying like, hey, at least attempt to see if it really is is really in him, or see like, is it something like that's just particularly going on at the moment, right? I talked about buyer's remorse. In fact, I was watching the series with a woman, and I talked about buyer's remorse, right? I said you have kids that were getting sex changes in high school, and you got them getting in middle school. It's not a high percentage of transgenders, but what I'm saying is they're getting sex changes. Later on in life, they said, look, I realized I was just going through a phase, but the people around me were pushing me to stay this way. they were encouraging me. He said, had I people men the both genders have said, had I known this, I would have never done this in my life. And they said, look, my body's completely fucked up. They said, I
Mm,
wish I had somebody who would have just kind of sat me down and just like asked me certain questions instead of just feeling like, hey, oh, this is you, this is what you need to do. Like one of my favorite things, I always refer back to the great Kevin Samuels. Kevin
mhm.
Samuels said something that's very
Yeah,
powerful. He
funny.
said, look, whether y'all believe it or not, women are some of the biggest people to push you in a direction you might not even want to go. But the
Mm,
empowerment of them, of women around you, is that powerful. And I was just like,
mhm.
damn. That's why it was weird that women would be like trying to shame men for being gay, yet they can have a gay male best friend. So it's like, what the fuck?
Mm,
So that's
mm.
that's one of the things I'll say on there. Hey, look, I'll take any heat for whatever I'm saying. But like I said, like I do believe in taking a certain standpoint just to get a feel for it. If it's like if this is 100% this person, ask them, is it a phase? Has this always been through you? And then like let off after that. I'm sorry. Hey, fuck it. Hey, I am what I am. Fuck it.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. Being a parent, it's a lot of shit. And I'd be like, man, if you talking about it, I'd be like, you got me fucked up. I'm like, nah, fuck nah. Nah, you got me fucked up. And then when it happened, I'd be like, all right, look, let me talk to you. You know what I mean? Like, it's like I don't give in, but it's like, all right, the rage kind of disappeared. It's like, all right, let's just have a conversation.
Yeah.
So his approach in the beginning was a little extra, I feel.
Tired.
But what I think, because I always think outside the box, but what I think is what they was trying to do was trying to make LJ out to be a alpha, right? And what I think they was trying to do is saying it was like a shot at men with high masculinity raising children. So I think they was trying to say in my own world, thinking outside the box, was like because he's so tough on him, it kind of weakened him. That's just where my brain went. It's like that's so fucking like that's so negative. Like it's like they have to take the strongest guy at the pack and give him that scenario to work with. That's just how I looked at it from
Bro, they've been
my
doing that.
viewpoint.
They've
Right,
been doing that in a lot of
right,
black series.
right. So that's why I was like, okay, I see where this is going. But it's like, nah, like if you really masculine as a man, you raising a boy, um, people selling him like he's only hard on you because he want better. You know what I'm saying? He wants you to be better than he was, blah, blah, blah. So I think they was trying to like twist some of that energy and be like, oh, that's what made him like this. And you know what I mean? So but most definitely, I think that was a shot at quote unquote toxic masculinity. I think that's what they was pushing on that one.
I,
Right.
I believe that for
So right.
I believe that
So
for
yeah, so just getting over that. I think he adjusted to it properly over time to where he was like, all right, bet that's still my kid. I love him no matter what. I just had to ask, 'cause that's some controversial shit, man. You see your boy in
You
some
sure
heels
did.
and
That's why I said what I
makeup,
said. That's
eyelashes.
why I said what I said. Yeah.
But I feel like knowing people that went through particular phases, man, even phases at certain points of how they even show they're going through phases, it just symbolizes where they at in the phase. So I feel like if a dude pushing it like that to that level, bro, he gone. Like it ain't no phase no more. You know what I mean? Like
But,
if he got the full attire,
hmm?
I don't know if I should say this not in the episode, but he some shit going on. Like he taking some, you know what I mean? Like that's over. You know what I mean? Like that's a done deal. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing you can do about that, man. It is what it is, man.
Okay.
But I feel
So
like if he or she or whatever's gonna go out of that phase, that's on them. You know what I mean? So
well,
that's all.
look, I'm gonna give you one of the biggest things his dad was seeing until his dad actually seen it. Throughout the series, if you paid close attention, his son was always acting in a fuck it. He's always acting
Submissive manner.
in basically a heterosexual way. Let's be honest.
Mhm.
It wasn't until it wasn't until not even the time when he caught him. It wasn't the time until the after party after the movie. He seen how his son was dancing. Then it clicked to him.
Then
It
hit him
clicked
like
to him
he
once he
for real.
seen how his son was dancing and moving. Then he's like, all right, because they said this is him. it wasn't clicking to him until he seen it. Not you telling him, he has to see it, right? Because like I said, he's used to him being a particular manner for so long that when you see something, it's just a phase. But when you sit back, you're no longer just looking at it as a phase. You can clearly observe, and that's what he did. He looked over, seen the way he was dancing, how he was moving. Then he was just like, all right, it is. That's why when they introduced him, like, hey, what do you feel about your son taking over a position as you? He's like, well, my son is non-binary. That's why he said the way he did once he realized this is what it is. He said, hey, my son is non-binary. I forgot the pronunciation of it, forgive me.
Right.
Well, yeah. And he said he has his choice to do whatever he wants. But I can also say this. I also said women influence. Who was his godparent?
Hey.
Yo. We gotta talk about that. Yo. We gotta talk about that. Jordan was there the whole time. Jordan knew. She started even rewarding prizes like,
right.
What was that? Cartier watch?
I
said Cartier watch. Yeah, this is for your company.
Like, yes, basically, wear this watch. Yeah, you like.
Yeah, I said, yo, bro. Yeah. It's like you can reward anything these days. You know what I'm saying? But we got to also pay attention to the influence of Jordan to the son. We wasn't talking about that. Man. But like I said,
we gotta do that. We gotta do that.
Yeah, because I said, yo, LJ had the right to be pissed off at Jordan.
And see, he was pissed off at everybody. Cause he's like, all y'all knew. Like, imagine everybody knew, and nobody told you to.
Because everybody was trying to hide it. I thought everybody was wrong right there. But at the same time, they didn't know how to bring that situation to the equation. Now I remember it was Jordan first, and after Jordan, it was Merch. Merch was like right there.
No, Q.
Yeah, Q just seen it like right there in front. Q started talking about it. Shelby just happened to be, they're in the same house, which is weird. I was like, how y'all all on Zoom? I guess it's a Zoom, but it looked like a FaceTime call. And I was like, y'all all knew about it. But like I said, Jordan was just the one like influencing it all. So that's why I was like, yo. Hey, look.
No, he good. We can get off that one, man. All right, so let's do this, man. This the most controversial one, man. Let's tap into Harp and Jordan. All right, so until the end of the series, we don't know if they smashed or not. We don't know. I'm gonna just say I don't know yet. All right, it could have went down one or two ways.
Man, he should have beat them cheeks.
Most likely, way number 2. At this particular point, out of all 3 movies, series, whatever, they didn't smash, right? So they still got this connection. Is it wrong for Harp and Jordan to have this type of connection throughout the series? And this is what baffles me the most. We spoke about it earlier, bro. Like, we was raised by single mothers. There was a lot of play uncles, play cousins.
That's for the next episode. Man.
It's just a little drip.
Go ahead.
And really, Mom was fucking these people. These was people that was in the friend zone for so long that they just dibbed and dabbed with. You thinking this is family a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, this is such and such. Nah, family fucking. Just from time to time. He in the friend zone and he's cool.
Making love. During that time
period. Love? All right. They making love, right? They ain't making no progress, but they making love. They making no progress, but they making love. And you thinking, oh, this is such and such. So it's like, okay, cool, man. Sometimes people have these weird connections with people, blah, blah, blah. But what I would say is Harp would have never made that autobiography about Lance if it wasn't for Jordan. He would have never married Robin if it wasn't for Jordan. It's a lot of things he wouldn't have accomplished if it wasn't for that particular relationship, right? So the most she got out of line, if you peep game, is, well, other than the end of the series, is when they was in the holiday park to no, the first movie to when she hadn't even met old girl and she was trying to give up the poom poom.
Yeah, she's like, look, even
If
if
she would
this
have had two,
one night only, I need that. I want
right,
that.
right.
Yeah.
So I mean, like that relationship wrong. Okay, cool, but it was like at the same time, if he would have like cut down that relationship, it would have cut off the whole circle. A lot of people don't look at that part. Like everybody was already in a circle.
Everybody was
Mhm.
connected to each other.
To each other, right?
Mhm.
So I mean, you can just tap in on that, and then we can take it somewhere else. You know,
But
get
Harper
to
Jordan or just Jordan in particular?
mm. I say Harp and Jordan, and then if you want to go into Jordan, that's cool.
I
I
mean,
know a lot of
listen,
people want to break her down as being this masculine female and shit. And,
man, look,
mm-hmm.
I had literally took a screenshot of. Now I went on the internet, right, and I took a picture of Jordan, right, when she was in
Mm-hmm.
the magazine. I sent that to several different women. I said, "This is you," and everybody that I sent it
Mm-hmm.
to, they're all corporate women. That's what I
Mm-hmm.
sent it to. I said, I didn't send it to you based off how her character was interacting with Hart. I sent that based off her ambition and her drive as a businesswoman. And I was like, this is you. Yeah, I will prioritize business over relationships. Nothing wrong with that. Remember the beginning of the series, what she was doing all day? She was
Working.
working. And what pisses me off in that while she was working, the brother, you can see the brother into it. Yeah, what's up? You know, how you doing? You know, hey, listen, I got some swordfish. You want to? Oh, I'm good. And she got upset the time where she let herself be available for the man, but then he was busy. And she said, this is why I don't give niggas time. I said, yo, you that is wild as fuck. I can't tell y'all how many women on a corporate level that I know who have high ambition and entrepreneurs, they finally want to give a man a chance, and and the man was just like, yo, I'm not available right now. So now they say, see, this is why I don't. This is why I'm always working. This is why I'm. It's like the
You don't
man
want
got
to
to cancel.
deal.
The man got to cancel everything he got on because now she's available. And fuck that. You know what I'm saying? And listen, I'm gonna tell y'all right now. Females' attention can be empowering and it can be distracting to the motherfucker, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I'll admit, I was distracted yesterday. I'm having a longer conversation than I should be having with somebody. I literally timed it. I said 30 minutes. Told myself 30 minutes. I'm on the phone for an hour and 30 minutes. I should have been reading my book. I should have been doing this, but I was like, the conversation's kind of good. Doing this and that. Cool. But I know when that person's busy, it's like, hey, I'm not able to communicate. Right? And I'm the same way when it comes to me. But like I said, it's just like I said, it's just wild to me. Like when a woman's busy and she gets free, a man got to drop everything. Like, hey, I'm giving you my time. Oh fuck it, you want to fumble it? I give it to somebody else. Oh, this one, when I was available, you didn't want to make yourself available. He's like, yo, but I've been trying to talk to you for like a good 2 or 3 days or a week or two, but I got to drop everything I'm doing. Because then when people do that, also, be honest, that's really on some leverage and power shit. Who's going to shift to who the minute somebody's available?
Mm-hmm.
And if you keep shifting all the time to that one individual, then that person's going to feel like, well, shit, if I jump out the sky, you better jump with me. Because you're only making yourself available on their time, and you're not then pushing them like, hey, you got to make yourself available when I'm available. When I want to do stuff, we need to do stuff. All right. So, like I said, that's one thing about Jordan. Like I said, I was, like I said, I always tell women, look, depending on your level of ambition, you're gonna be perfect for corporate, right? What got this young lady? I call her. She's part of my Pretty Professionals group. But like they're not literally a group. They all know each other, but I just say like they're all in corporate. Anytime something's dealing with business, networking, doing this and that, she's on it 100%. Relationships are the last thing on her mind. And the way she talks, she presents herself. I said, you know what? I can definitely see you going high in the corporate ladder. And she was like, why? She was like, I said, you have the perfect energy. You have created yourself to be the individual they would sort after when they'd be like, hey, look, we need a minority black woman within this type of ranking. you fall 100% into it because you let yourself embody it.
Mhm.
I said, look, if I put you around three of my homeboys, and they'll all be different races, they're gonna be like, yeah, she can go vertical. And that's a big thing. Some people don't know the difference between vertical and horizontal because you have that aspect. That's why they put some black women in HR hiring positions, managing positions, if they have that level of ambition. Jordan, what happened to Jordan during the series? She went vertical. They said, "Hey, we got a new position. You want to do it?" She took it. Then when she realized after all that, she didn't want it no more because she said, "I did everything I wanted to do. Now I got to do stuff for me." Jordan was the only one out that whole relationship that didn't have a child. So then when I sent that picture too, I said, "This is you also, not just on the level of corporate, but you would be called the rich auntie." You know how they always say the rich auntie that don't have kids but they have a dog. That was Jordan. Like, come on, man. I was like,
Hey,
come on, bro. Y'all don't see
bro.
that? She prioritized everything business wise. Like, so when I sent the picture of her, some people caught on why I sent it to them, and some people were like, nah, I wouldn't do that. But Jordan was cool. Like I said, she had that connection. She was there. She let you. But like I said, she also had bad influence into some of the things she was doing within a couple of the movies. So I can't just be like Jordan was just all dope. She also, everybody had their own negative traits at the same time. So
Good job.
that's all I got right there.
Good job, man. So this is my input on
Jordan wants the
Jordan.
power. She wants the power, bro.
It's-
Jordan wants the power
oh,
in all that.
like I say, once again, I think outside the box. I see shit that's not there sometimes. I could be right, I could be wrong.
Go ahead.
But what I do see is they took the most masculine, quote unquote, black woman out the whole thing. And in the holiday movie, they put her in a relationship. She still wasn't, quote unquote, where she should have been in a relationship,
Hmm?
but they put her with a white man. I'm sorry. I see things that a lot of people probably don't catch, but they took the most masculine black woman and put her with a white man. Even though it didn't work, I'm like, okay, I can see what they're attacking. You know what I mean? So what everybody slept on is, like you brought up earlier, sexual polarity,
Hmm?
right? As masculine as people want to make Jordan, let's take it back to the hood. They say, hey, players always get chose. You feel me? So it's like what you pay for it, you know what I mean? It may be a lesser price than what somebody else got to pay for it. It don't devalue the poom poom. It's just saying, hey, where there's more attraction or polarity, there's going to be an easier process. Smooth sale. The person that got that connection with her is Hart. He's equally ambitious, right?
Right, right.
And
100%.
so I can't buy into the whole fact that she's just so hoorah masculine and can't no man meet her levels and needs when it's one throughout every fucking series or movie that's right there that she got that vibe with.
Hmm?
And I go back to polarity. You know what I mean? They got that kind of vibe to where he working on the book, she taking over a company. He
Right.
working on the movie, she thinking about what's next. You know what I mean?
They're just going up like that
So
the whole
a
time.
lot of people will look at sex and I'll look at polarity and connect the two
Hmm?
and figure out that you got a sexual polarity. It's just a certain type of attraction that she's looking for. Even a white guy that she was dating, what did he have? Money and status. See,
Status.
I can't play these games with y'all, man. Y'all want to make her out to be this, this masculine villain that's whatever. But I'm like, her polarity is saying, since my hunger is here, my ambition is here,
Hmm?
I need a man that got this or he got this. I'm sorry. Like, you know what I mean?
Hmm?
So you can't expect anybody, man or woman, to work themselves up to top tier and settle for less. I don't care, man or woman.
Hmm?
If I hustle to get this, you gotta have this.
Hmm?
Otherwise, you sell it. So you feel me? Like, so I just had to throw that out there. I ain't want to beat up on Jordan character too
No,
much.
I was to say Jordan, but Jordan also did have feminine ways too, right? These
Yeah.
are these are another thing people don't understand is people can tap into feminine nature and still have a direct type of energy that you can misquote it as aggressive or masculine. But
Mhm.
at the same time, uh, we always talk about environmental play, situational play. All those things coming out. Like I said. So I just looked at it as a high ambitious black woman, which was nothing wrong with that. But like I said, it was more so how she acted out in situations. That was more so why people be like, she's the bougie black one, the aggressive, the masculine. I was like, cool. You know what I'm
All of
saying?
it was capping. Mhm.
But like I said, hey, I ain't got nothing wrong with that. I can fuck with a person like that too. So.
All that shit is cap. All right, so we're taking something else. Um, quick point. What I noticed with LJ, man, is he can get all the pussy in the world, but his polarity is to a woman that challenges him. If you notice, Mia in the beginning, she like, yeah, I know you're a star, but you ain't really all that. You could do this better. You could do this. You could do that. He like, oh, this bitch, she different. You know what I mean? She not just praising me. She challenging me. Same thing happened with him and his new wife in the final chapters. When
Right.
they first met, she
Savvy.
wasn't on the dick. She was like challenging him. So his polarity is towards a woman that gives him more of a challenge,
Mhm.
right?
She knew
Versus
he
a
was breaking
groupie.
backs all day on that island too.
Yeah. Versus more than just a groupie. So I just had to tap in on that with the polarity. Like Jordan, she needs a man that's kind of like, but I don't know what Terry's. I'm gonna just say Terry Silver because I know the nigga is Terry Silver. When I seen him in the series, I'm like, oh, he's finna fuck something. Shit, like he a grimy ass nigga. He plays some shit. But yeah, you know, I seen that. I seen what she did with him. But I'm like, okay, with her, she needs somebody that's equally ambitious or more ambitious or got more. And then if you look at LJ, he needs a woman that challenges him versus praises who he is.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So I just wanted to throw that polarity pitch out there. You can tap in on that if you want to. If not,
Okay.
um,
Okay. So what
mm,
about?
mm,
I was about to
good.
say, 'cause I wouldn't even think out of Jordan and Shelby. I think Shelby more masculine. I would say Shelby's way more masculine than Jordan, from what I
I would
see.
definitely say so because
Yeah.
Shelby
So
was
I
into
wouldn't. I wouldn't say Jordan was. I would say
successful and manipulative shit. Like I gotta,
super manipulated.
yeah, like the way she did merch was just,
Ooh,
uh,
ooh.
like you gotta understand. Like when she was with Guy, she was on some I'm gonna control this motherfucker.
Mhm.
Then afterwards, she started fucking his boy while still trying to get back with him. Like a lot of people don't catch that. So I'm like, if y'all gonna talk about Jordan Hart, we gotta talk about Shelby.
Yeah, they Shelby too, man. Like I
You
said,
fighting his wife, the mother of his children that he moved on with, while you still fucking his best friend. And eventually you end up getting married to this person, but it's just like, hey man, hey, we can't just pick our villains how we want to. Like right is right, wrong is wrong. So
She crashed that man's wedding.
crash the whole fucking
Yeah,
wedding. Crash the whole thing.
crashed the whole thing.
People,
But people praised it like, well, she would have got her man back. But if you know what I'm saying, if
hey,
man struggle with a
I ain't
situation,
wild,
like,
man.
come on,
I,
man. If a man struggle with a
I like that
situation,
part a little bit. I like that part a little bit. I ain't saying somebody got to do all that shit with me, but I ain't that
that's what they
difficult.
do.
But in most of the movies, when somebody go out and get somebody back, catch an airplane, you know what I'm saying, run down a train, the train moving, he on the side of the train, I love you. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying, trying to get her attention, he outside with a boom box. It's always the man. So they flipped it. Like she
yeah, yeah.
went and got her shit. Like that was
Man,
gangster.
I think she
That
could
was
have no, she
gangster.
could have seen him moving on. That's what happened. That's what she was talking about.
True, true.
Dude, come
But
on, bro. Come
true.
on,
No,
bro. Come
true.
on.
But I'm saying for some people, they're in a comfort space until some shit like that happen. When they see you really finna be up out this bitch, that's when they go, oh shit.
Right? They
That's
describe,
that
remember?
shock value.
Uh,
It's that
uh,
shock value, yeah. That shit could be
yeah,
gone. That's when it hit people.
that man
So
said,
you
been
gotta remember they
going
was fucking for like what, 10 years?
like 20 years. Like, what's this been going on?
10,
15?
10 years. The kid
10
was
years ago.
10 when they finally got married or whatever, quote unquote. So yeah, they
10
was fucking for
years.
about
The daughter was, how old? The daughter was in high
10.
school. About 15.
10.
No, be 15.
Well no, and yeah. Well she was
No,
oh,
I got,
I thought it was
oh,
about
okay.
10.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
it's they're over. We got there. They're over.
It's up there. It's up there. All right. So let's go here. Since we talked about Shelby, Q and Shelby, man. Could you have pulled that off, bro? Because you gotta remember in the holiday movie, Q asked Merch like who gave him the best head of his life, and he was like Shelby. You feel me? Like Shelby was with Merch at first. So could
Yeah.
you be in that situation, like just all the way around? Because you have done exactly the whole Q and Shelby connection kind of.
after my homeboy was with him, that
The whole thing. Like you talk about.
man, that's the. But you know what's funny about that is Q was the coach
He
for
was
Mercy.
trying to
So
push.
he was
Yeah,
the coach
he
for
walk
hey, let me
around
show you how to
pushing
get this
things.
done, man. And,
Mhm.
but you know, but the thing is, you can coach a man on how to get things done, and when he does it, to him, he's like, "Yeah, I know how to get this bitch now." People don't look at it like that. People don't know how to look at it like that because he's coaching you the whole time. So
Oh
he knows
shit!
if he step into the plate, he got in the bag. He got in the
Wow.
bag. You know what I'm saying? So it was funny, like in the first movie. What happened in the first movie? She ended up getting the flowers, and he ended up getting the what is that called for the women? Whatever the shit called from Mia, the little.
The bouquet.
She
Bouquet.
got the bouquet. Shelby got the
Mm,
bouquet. Q got
okay.
the whatever the fuck
That's
that shit
what
was.
it's called.
Yeah, whatever it's called. And he got that. I was like, so when they start fucking around doing the movie, I looked at it the first one like, God, do y'all remember that ending though? I mean, during the wedding, what happened? So they were like basically telling you they're gonna match
They were
up.
setting it up. Yeah, they were
They're
setting
gonna
it up.
match up. So
Hey,
they're
but
gonna
look,
match up.
let's go further. Let's go further. Let's go further.
Okay,
Let's
go ahead,
have
man.
fun.
Come on, man. Let's do this. Let's do this, man.
Remember before that in the beginning when everybody was linking up, when Shelby came in the little club where
Garden. We got somebody to help out the garden. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, when Shelby came in, her and Q looked at each other. They looked at each other up and down, and then she went to talking to Merch. Like I paid attention to all this shit. Like, oh, y'all motherfuckers
Solid connections.
been
Solid
checking
connections.
each other out. Okay, bet. Alrighty. So let's go ahead, man. Last point for me. What's your full analysis on Merch? He was like the pussy friend from like everything, and then
Candy
life
man.
started life. Life started life in. He married a stripper. Life is life in. He building a family.
Ooh.
He can't build a family because people started reminding him he married a stripper. Then he's facing racism as a black father and a black man and household not moving right. Then he's tapping to the UFC type of training, MMA.
Hmm?
Then he finds himself and then he started standing up to people, speaking his mind,
Hmm.
quote unquote. So it was like to me, really like his story was like kind of like the most profound in a sense, because it's like he went from like being highly submissive to becoming not so quote unquote dominant, but more masculine throughout
Yeah, he got yes, and
every,
there's a difference between
every
dominant. He became more
situation.
masculine. I
Yeah,
definitely
so,
agree with that.
yeah. So
Merch from beginning to the end, that'd be very difficult for me to do. Right?
mm,
Because you got to be conscious of everything he participated into. Like I said, Q, I gotta give Q credit. Q taught him how to get some nuts. If it wasn't for Q coaching him, I don't think he would have been able to got the stripper. I'm gonna be honest.
true.
Just for the simple fact that
Yeah.
even though the conversation was still based off poetry when they officially connected, you know what I'm
Mm,
saying? Because she said, "What was that quote?" And he said, "It was something I tell my students." This she mentioned the author, so he's like, "Oh," but at the you know what I'm saying? But I thought it was still amazing for him to uh, get a dance by a stripper. And the funniest thing he said was, "Do you love me?" I was like,
You say,
"Damn,
yeah,
what
baby.
is
Candy
that?"
loves you, baby.
Candy loves you. Candy loves you.
Oh shit.
That let me know he had a vulnerability of wanting love. You know what I'm saying? You don't ask a random person who's dancing on you, do you love me? Like, especially like if you got some dollars in your hands, right? Like, let's be honest, bro. Me and the homies, we done all went to the strip clubs before, right? We always had that one homie like, man, yeah, that bitch want me, man. Yeah, you see how she looking at me? I said, nigga, put the money in your pocket, bro. Don't let's like wake up to reality real quick, bro. Look where we at. You know what I'm saying? I
Mm,
had some homies actually uh attempted to marry a stripper, and I think one
mm,
actually did. But
mm,
it was still, I was like, to me, I'm like, hey, look, I don't want to judge everything, but it's just certain shit I can't pass through, right? People on my dad's side own a strip club. So I seen
mm,
the activities that take place. I was with homies like when we went to certain things where I seen activities take place. So it's like even if people want to do the diamond, like I just came here to dance and I ain't doing all that stuff. Cool. But it's never gonna process in my mind like that. So I would never have myself step into that position. Come on, Merc went from talking to the stripper to inviting her to a wedding the next day. Who does that? Who does that? So that's what I'm saying. So Merc did, we went through that. Second movie, he's going through a situation. They're like, "Yay, how'd you meet your wife?" When one of the I think that was the principal. I forgot who he
Sponsor.
was.
That was a sponsor.
One of the sponsors. I forgot who it was. Sponsor comes like, "How'd you meet your wife?" Then there's one video. There's a video of your wife getting money. The door closed. The dude that dropped his pants. I was like, "Oh, see, this is why I can't do that, right?" The dude named Mia Khalifa was one of the most famous porn stars in the world. We all know who she is. Well,
we all know. Yeah,
we all know who she is. When people start, they got married. When people start constantly sending him videos of his wife performing on other dudes, it eventually got to him. Merch had to power his way through that. And that's a mental battle that I don't know if everybody can do. You know what I'm saying? That's just like, if you ever made, fucking man, let's be honest, if you ever made sex video before, there's always a difference when you keep that stuff private and when you share it with other people, right? If the sex video happened and it's amongst each other and it never gets shared, then nobody knows. But once it gets publicized, hits the internet, you got to live with that shit forever. That's the same thing Birch was going through. I was like, bro, you got to have a strong mind. Through his progression, like I said, the last movie, he stepped up. And one of the major things we talk about at a younger age is when you start tapping into your abilities and learning, you know, getting into more masculine acts. Working out is one of the methods. One of his things, the things that unlocked him and where he started growing more balls and nuts was he started working out. He started getting more confidence. He started having more. He finally found a way to channel his aggression. He was just building up the whole time. Even in that relationship, there were situations where he had something going on. The woman's like, "Hey, I need you to do this." He's like, "Hey, well, but does that mean I don't have nothing? I got other stuff going on." He's like, "What do you have going on?" Well, you know, exactly. So you can do it. I'm sitting here trying to go to school and stuff. That's what I said. Like the ayahuasca changed the whole dynamics of a lot of things. So, like I said, Merch surprised me in the end. But one thing I didn't like about fuck it, man. Like, listen, we all have our perception of how we see individuals through our eyes. Remember, Merch got upset about the movie, how he was being viewed. But we all know those were true moments that took place. It hurt him because he couldn't see himself within that movie. Right. And that's why people like, you heard Merch, but y'all know it's true. And then once he seen it, that's when he was like, fuck that shit. I gotta change how people see me. So, like I said, Merch character throughout the whole series, from the beginning to the middle, I was like, ugh, I can't do that. But as he started tapping in, standing up for himself, sitting his wife down, I was like, whoo, yeah. You know, I'm rooting for it. Like I said, bro, the show's toxic. You got to be yelling at the goddamn TV. You'll never be forgiven for that. I ain't never did it. You'll never forgive.
I'm glad I can do that for you. I'm glad I can do that for you.
But yeah, Burst is cool, man. I guess I say Burst is cool. And when I look at it, people had dominant situations, but I could, like you said, I can honestly say I wouldn't say they're overall dominant characters. So, yeah.
Cool.
Hey, what about you about Merch?
Yeah, that's it, man. That's it. That's it. We hit everybody. We hit every character. We hit every situation.
Yeah. Wait, did you do Candy?
Oh, no, I ain't.
Merch's wife. What's it?
Only thing I can say about Candy, what I noticed is, you know what I mean, like she started off a little rough. You know, she was in the trenches. You know, she was pushing P differently. You feel me? She wasn't pushing pimping, but she was pushing P. And then she changed and settled down and started a family and went to school and started trying to better herself in a positive way. And then, you know, the old guy tried to, you know, do his thing with her.
His way in.
I mean, so I really ain't got nothing negative to say about her character, man. Like that's for her to start off like that and finish the way she did. I ain't got nothing negative to say about it.
Nothing negative. Nothing negative. How she
Other
was treating
than
merch.
how she
How she was
started.
treating
Huh? Huh?
how she was treating merch. None of that, right? Just none of that, right?
Well, I mean, like, what? How would you say she was treating him?
I'm saying, but you said nothing negative about her character. Everybody had positive and negative traits, right? For instance, Shelby, when Jordan coached Shelby the proper way, it was like, look, I need you not to be Shelby off the Housewives. I need you to be Shelby like you were in debate school still. You
All right.
seen an instant switch. But I'm saying, so there's still positive negative traits. So you didn't see
Okay,
nothing.
so I respond for
Oh,
him.
right, bro, fuck that. I'm gonna say that shit
No,
right now. Throughout that whole movie, I want y'all to pay attention to the language they were using towards the men they were with. She told a man she married to, "Hey, I need you to be a good co-parent." I wish a motherfucker would tell me that I'm a co-parent and we married. I will go the fuck off on you. Co-parenting has always been somewhat associated when you're no longer in the same household, where you're not married. These are just separate things. Word utilization hits the mind different. I felt like that was totally disrespectful. Are you, if you married and your wife say, "I need you to co-parent with me," you comfortable with that?
um,
Would you parent with me or would you co-parent with me?
um, so before I do that, man,
Yeah.
because it's gonna tie in. Respond to a comment, she put her word first, and the result she became a sad, hard reality. Um, I ain't. I'm kind of like unbiased. Like, okay, the same way I'm saying Hart got the right to be ambitious, and Jordan got the right to be ambitious. I feel like.
Robin had the right to be ambitious too. Everybody had the right to be
Yeah.
ambitious. Nobody was
Right. So
was
what I'm saying is like her in that particular situation, what she was saying by her putting her work first, I felt like she was pretty much her work was different based on she came from the most fucked up situation. Like she was stripping while everybody else had something going other than
education.
stripping.
Education.
Right.
It all.
So then she leave that, then she get into the educational space, and then her children were affected by the whole like mental health space and taking these
ADHD and stuff like that.
medicines, you know what I mean? So was that really work at a particular space? Because her work was to like heal her children naturally. So she had a different type of energy going into work than everybody else had. So I don't really think that she was putting her work first per se before the family because the family was affected by her coming up with this solution to like naturally heal ADHD and all these other type of things like without the pharmaceutical route. So I kind of understand that. And then by her asking her husband to quote unquote co-parent or parent with her is just saying, hey, look, I know we got these kids, we got a house, and I know I'm the woman, but I really can't be that right now. I need you to be that right now because I'm trying to heal our children. And it didn't hit him till later, to after they went through the whole police thing and he talking to his daughter and she didn't remember it. That's when he was like, the fuck? What you mean you don't remember? It just happened yesterday. I think that's when it hit him like, okay, maybe what old girl doing kind of got some substance to it because the medicine that these kids are taking, the daughter was just completely fucked up. She was out of it. You know what I mean? And she kind of really didn't overcome certain fears or whatever. Like I said, I think outside the box until she took the edibles. When she took the edibles, I think a light bulb even clicked off in the mama's brain, like, oh shit, it may be like some medicinal healing and something
Nah,
in
that
that
was
space.
that was
Yeah,
how I
right. So, but yeah, so I don't think she was putting work first per se, because at the same
school.
time, her work would heal her children. So she was just kind of telling dude, hey, I'm not trying to bust your balls, but this whole feminine role right now, I'm trying to do something else. And you don't even see the problem with them being on this medicine and living this life. He still was thinking it was normal for them to be on the medicine and go through all that until he started seeing they couldn't remember shit or the oldest daughter couldn't function. So I don't know. That's why I say I don't really see too much negative with her character.
Okay, so the times where she's scheduling things for her and her daughters, and she's asking him to step into place because right, biggest latest one. The dude knew what he was doing, the counselor. He
Mm,
went from scheduling earlier times to later times. So when the availability started coming up, right, they had a play she was supposed to come to. Remember, it was a play or something after school wise she was supposed to do. She
mm,
said, "Oh shit, well fuck it, hey, I need you to do this because I need to go ahead and get my counselor." It
mm.
happened. A lot of those situations played out. Where that's why she said she put her work before the kids. That's why she's saying that because, like I said, situations that came up, she was supposed to tend to them, but she volunteered her husband to do it, not knowing if he already had something. Remember, he been had this stuff going on, but he just like, hey, fuck it, I'll do it. Hey, I'll do it for Mickey. He just started doing it.
Okay. Feel
He
like
just
this.
started doing it because he realized she's not going to be there.
Okay.
Until they remember the time he picked them up after school. They said, "Oh, we was expecting the mom." He's like, "Have a good day."
Just pause there. I think what everybody's overlooking, her work, quote unquote, is the only solution to her kids being normal. It's not just because she's looking for a paycheck or she's looking for status or anything like that. She's literally trying to solve her children's problem by
Mhm.
working on it.
Okay. So we
So,
can say the same thing
so
with no.
she tapped into a right. That's why
We
I
can say that with
compared her to
anybody
Harp.
then in that case.
Right. That's why I compared her to Harp and everybody else.
Mhm.
Her ambition is not like self gain, purpose, status quo, money. She's literally trying to get her kids out of the system, which is the system of taking medicine by the pharmaceuticals. That was her main shit. It's like I want my kids off this medicine. So I got to figure out a solution because nobody else has the solution for that. Um, so
I'm about to say it also rolled into the school that they were at because one of the kids, one of the mothers came up to the school was like, "Hey, we hear about you studying these
okay.
things."
Let me tap into this real quick before I get too
Sure.
far.
Yeah, we go
She
to another
didn't
topic.
ask for her husband's input because her husband didn't see the same problem that she saw. He didn't see it until they went through the traumatic experience and he realized the daughter didn't remember it. Other than that, they was beefing because she like, I'm trying to do all this shit for our daughters and figure this shit out. And he like, it's normal for them to have this and take medicine and do all this. Just let them go through the medicine process until he's seen it himself that it wasn't effective. So you can't really like ask somebody for their input if y'all don't even see the same problem existing in front of you. Sometimes you just got to work on that problem until the other person see the problem. You can constantly be like, "Hey, it's a problem here. It's a problem here. It's an elephant in the room. Oxygen is a little low. It's in the corner." If they don't see it, they don't see it. I'm gonna exert more energy trying to tell you that it's an elephant in the room versus, hey, I'm gonna just let you see that motherfucker when you're ready, but I'm gonna still work on the solution. But that's quote unquote being masculine. And I can't say she was wrong in that particular space because he caught on to the problem very late. She caught on to it earlier. So somebody got to step into that position and be like, all right, I'm going to fix this. The more I'm trying to explain to you why I'm trying to fix a problem, I could be putting that energy into the problem. So that's why I really don't have nothing to say about her character and
I
her getting his
also,
input because he was for them taking the medicine. She wasn't because she saw the problem. He didn't. So we don't have to keep talking about the problem. Somebody got to put the action in play. And then eventually he saw it and then he was like, all right, bet, I see what you want. Sometimes it just works like that. Sometimes we can't always agree when we think we should agree just to move forward. Sometimes somebody just got to carry the load. We got to throw the gender roles out the window. Somebody just got to keep this shit moving. And then if we catch on to what's going on before it goes to shit, then bet we can now move as a collective. But somebody always got to keep the progression moving. That's how I look at that.
um, I mean, the only thing I was gonna say, 'cause I'm ready to go to another subject now, was I think it actually hit all of them when they came home from the party and seen they were all high off the drug. See,
Yeah,
they
that's
all.
what I saw. But think about what happened. She was trying to struggle to see the thin line between pharmaceuticals, legal and illegal, which would be like edibles, marijuana, all that shit. When she seen how that affected her daughter, that she took the edibles, then I think a light bulb hit her. She's still trying to figure. You got to think about where they at in the space. They still haven't the transition that we made towards like edibles, CBD, all this other kind of shit. Apparently, this is not the method and the route that they're taking as far as what they're trying to fix with the kids being on the pharmaceuticals for mental health. So right now, everybody's giving her backlash because she wants to go that route. But now she's seen it actually work. Remember, her daughter had too much anxiety to even do what she was doing. When she took the edible, she got over the anxiety and she was actually doing it. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't think everybody paid attention to that part.
Well, I pay attention to everything, man. Analytical. Analytical. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. Another
But no,
subject.
that is it, man. You know, we can close that one off. Make sure you tap into that YouTube channel, Talking
Man,
That
nah, we
Talk
ain't
Official
closing that. Nah, I ain't
Podcast.
done with this,
Yeah.
man. I'm
Yeah,
not.
you want that? Go
Nah,
ahead, man. Keep going. Keep going.
okay. So let's talk about the ending of everything,
Okay.
right? Shelby, do you believe in the situation? Okay, we talking about the goddamn kids. What the fuck? You got
Mm,
situation with Shelby and Q and their daughter.
mm,
So what do you feel about the situation where he said, "Look, my daughter is not learning anything because everything is given to her."
mm.
Is there an instillment, or and I also say she was also one of the influence, like I said before. LJ realized it. She was also one of the influence into LJ's son.
Shelby,
No, the daughter. I forgot her name.
the doctor. Okay.
The daughter. So
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. So it's like as everything had different relationships. I know everything was like everybody had a pair relationship. Even
Mm.
to Q and his daddy, he was trying to sell the company. Say, "Look, this is sell the company. Like, hey, you're just trying to get the easy way out." Um, like I said, there's a lot of things within that series that
So
um, hmm?
what's the question with the daughter?
With the
Like
daughter situation, she learned her mother's way of manipulating things to get what she wants at the same time. He
okay.
even said it. He even said, "Oh, you're just a smarter version of your mom." Right? When he said when he tried to bribe her, like, "Hey, listen, whatever, let me get this burger or whatever. I'll buy you a new purse." Well, look, mom said if you offer, I can get double the purse or anything. Like when she was saying, "Hey, look, the value of the Chanel bag actually goes up when we actually know those were Birkin bags," but he was less educated on. She took
Okay.
she took information that he didn't know in order for her to win in life, right? She mentioned
Well,
another person where she was like, well, she pulled the race card. Well, all the white girls got the purse, and I'm the only black girl. He's like, man, fuck that shit. What kind of purse you want? What I'm saying? It's it's a lot of stuff within that role. Like, but go ahead,
right,
go
right.
ahead.
Right. I would just say from experience, I don't think necessarily she learned all that from her mother. I think that's just part of her quote unquote growing into her feminine more so, tapping into the like manipulation factor, especially with her father being the first man present that you can manipulate. Um, Negative, positive, that's another conversation.
Remember,
But
he didn't come up with life
he
till
just
the next
wasn't in
series.
his quote unquote masculine frame when it came to his daughter. That was his soft spot. That that was his choice to be that soft with her. Some people would give the empathy and be like, well, he missed out 10 years. All right. I mean, well, however
Oh,
you
who
want to
was
put it.
hell?
But see, that's what I'm saying. I know people that raise their daughter from birth, but they still soft with it no matter what. So I don't even think it was empathy because he missed out. I think that's just him not being in his frame, quote unquote, and thinking, um, this is my princess, quote unquote. I'm gonna give her what she wants. The mother was saying, hey, we need to check up. We need to do this. We need to do that. He was like going against the grain. Even when he was like, yeah, we need to really do something with this girl. She was looking at him like, nigga, you gonna fold.
Said that because
You
she
gonna fold.
knew how to leverage what she knew from learning from her to get what she learned from him. That's why she said that.
Say it again.
She was the daughter was leveraging what she learned from her mother against her father. That's why she said, "Hold on, I see what's going on. We need to check that." That's why she said
The
that. It wasn't
daughter
him just
leveraging what she learned from her mother to use
mother
against her father.
to go
Okay,
against
but
the father.
being fem. Okay, but from somebody that has a daughter that's grew up raised by women, you don't think that's just like something natural that they go through? As far as like, how can I manipulate the other sex? I mean, without anybody teaching them, you don't think it's just a natural thing? Like, how can I manipulate this man?
To want a high quality ass purse, a Chanel bag?
Huh?
To want a Chanel bag?
If you
Instead
know
of a
your
Dior
daddy got
bag?
the money, if you know your daddy got the money, and that's a potential, I wonder if I can get this bag out of him. You don't think that's just a natural experiment they go through versus somebody they got to watch another woman do it and learn? I don't know. That's just my question on that. I think that's just natural, bro, for them to go through.
All right. Hey, listen, I asked you the question. I'm good with it.
But look, I can tap into it on this aspect and still stay in bounce. If we go back to the most profound biblical story that we're not going to say is true or not true, but if we go to the Garden of Eden, if the serpent wanted to get to the man, what did he do? He went through the woman because the woman can, quote unquote, manipulate the man. No one taught Eve how to talk to Adam and manipulate him into doing what he did. It came natural. So if we're talking about daughters, women, whatever, some of that shit is just going to come natural for certain sexes to try to manipulate or see what they can get out the other sex. If you look at now, the biggest thing that's going on is some people, it's like we brought up earlier, some men pay a different price than other men pay for the same exclusiveness or the same entertainment from women, but a man is still paying. Some men just pay less, some men pay more. This has always been into play naturally. You know what I'm saying? Whether you call it tricking, whether you call it some niggas simping, whether you call it some niggas doing whatever, it's always been there into play for men to pay for the poom poom or men to be manipulated by the poom poom. What makes you more masculine, quote unquote, is how you respond to the energy. So I just looked at it as him not making the most masculine decisions when it came to his daughter versus his daughter learning from the mother. Because if she wasn't there, she would still try to manipulate her father regardless. Then we would try to say, oh, well, she got it from Beyonce. She got it from TV. Like, no, that's gonna happen. The
It's the
first the first the
motherfuckers.
first man a woman would try to manipulate is the most masculine around her, which may be her father, her grandpa, somebody. She's gonna try it on somebody first.
I don't think it's going to be the strongest. It's you. I believe it's usually the weakest.
Hey,
The
the
strongest
weakest
could go
don't
after
get
the
it,
strongest
but
motherfucker.
they're gonna go for anybody. That's what I'm saying. From seeing
You
little
you
girls
usually work your
manipulate.
way up. You usually work your way up. That's what I'm saying, bro.
Hey,
I'm
you
just
just gotta
saying,
go
bro.
through it, man. You gotta go through it. You gotta see what I'm talking about. You gotta go through it.
Oh man, you crazy the motherfucker. You know that man. You crazy the motherfucker, man. But hey, you my nigga though. You my nigga.
But yeah, so yeah, we getting that.
Though.
Appreciate y'all for tapping in, talking that talk official podcast, man. Make sure you tap into that YouTube channel and follow us. I go by the name of King Exodus. Up top, we got No Ordinary Brother. Appreciate y'all. We can keep it open for like a few seconds. If anybody want to go live, ask more
Anybody want to
questions.
go live over the subject, man? You got 60 seconds. We did say it's gonna be an open platform for yes for tonight.
You got 30 seconds, man. It don't take that long to make a choice.
Sure. It actually do sometimes. The hardest decision you have is, choosing the right spouse. Everything else can take time. Well, no, my fault. It'll have to take all that time. This man always says something, then walks away from the camera, man. He needs. What's this on? This man walked away from the camera.
Yeah. All right, so that's it, man. That's it. Man.
All right, man. So we go ahead and cut it right there.
Hey, what we doing next week, man? We doing something next week? We gonna get that early promo, man. We doing something next week? What we doing?
Yeah, we got some big things coming on next week, man. Don't want to say too much, but yeah, man. Don't forget, man. We're gonna be doing an event in Houston, Texas. Make sure y'all come out. But I believe we're gonna do a brunch or bowling. I do like that idea. Brunch or bowling sounds fun. Or something could be laid back, such as a lounge. So y'all be on the lookout for that Talk of That Talk official
Outing.
outing. I can even find a word. I can even find a word.
All right, y'all. We
All right, man. Get out of here, man. Peace.